and where he highlights the problem with the energy supply of Europe, whereas perhaps in Asia, the problem manifested itself in food supply and food affordability. Whether natural or man-made, such disruptions and breakdowns have catastrophic implications for global business.
Keenly interested to hear your.
So I think that we'll see a fairly healthy fourth quarter.
Our projection is exceptionally well-performing country during a very difficult time. For 22, for the Philippines, is 7% growth.
Very basically, it's a clear understanding that the pandemic.
Great to see you too. We had a very good touching base.
Yes, that's right.
In,
yes, I
in
hope to.
And monetary policies. I'm very keenly interested to hear your.
So I think that we'll see a fairly healthy fourth quarter.
Our projection is exceptionally well-performing country during a very difficult time. For 22, for the Philippines, is 7% growth.
Very basically, it's a clear understanding that the pandemic, and then followed by the Ukraine.
And monetary policies. I'm very keenly interested to hear. But again, congratulations for the good performance.
Thank you very much indeed. We'll keep going.
Keep going. Yes.
With your help and your advice. Thank you.
Thank you.
But I think this was always his
immigration piece that we show in the Philippines. I would bet global supply chains are fixed, and we have started on that. 98% is done by sea, so that becomes to Davos and telling everyone that move it forward so to provide more opportunities.
The business we develop industrial parks. We're successful industrial parks based on where the government feels it is the area. The beauty when you said Excellency, that one which in 85 they gave us 10,000 hectares, and everybody said it's too much for you, you don't need it.
I'm pleased to be joining you this morning, and as we acknowledge the distinguished panel experts, academics, executives, and officials who we will be hearing from during the discussion period. It is quite apropos that we hold this gathering prior to taking our midday meal for the day. For us in the Philippines, an essential and perennial component of a meal is one served with rice. Filipinos join over half the global population where rice is an essential grain, the veritable stuff of life. We simply cannot get enough rice. It was not too long ago, just over 70 years, when the Philippines embarked on an experiment to fortify rice with thiamine and other nutrients, where this experiment helped solve the severe problem that was existing in our country then of beriberi, which was a leading cause of death at the time. It's now considered as a model for public health nutrition and for rice enrichment programs in other countries. Beyond rice, we created the National Nutrition Council 48 years ago to supervise, coordinate, and evaluate the National Nutrition Program for all public and private agencies. Food security remains at the forefront of our national agenda. Anchored on our vision for a prosperous, resilient, and secure Philippines by the year 2040, are the overreaching goals of this administration that are to build an inclusive society when no one is hungry, where Filipinos live long and healthy lives, and where they are provided with an environment built upon trust and security, and where they can be innovative and remain smart and responsive to the problems of the day. Underscoring all these lofty goals is ensuring that each and everyone is provided with quality and ample nutrition. In a 2021 Global Food Security Index, the Philippines ranked a modest 64th out of 113 countries in 4 dimensions of food security metrics. We have made significant gains in the past few years, but more certainly needs to be done if we are to attain Sustainable Development Goal 2 on zero hunger. It bears emphasizing that the challenge of nutrition is different for you and for me, from your economy to mine, from us here to the people back home. Among our priority interventions are those geared towards making food available, affordable, accessible amid the looming global food and energy shortage. Government spending will focus on productivity-enhancing interventions for the agricultural sector. Research and development is going to be a very important component for this, as with the advent, as has been mentioned, with the advent of the climate change issues. The impact on climate change has to be part of that discussion. Government spending will focus on the agricultural sector, but also it will in the distribution sector. For as all governments, we buy a lot of food to provide for our schools. There's a feeding program for children to provide for, especially during the pandemic, for assistance to those who are in trouble. And we have learned during our sessions here that systems-based and data-driven cooperation is key to achieving security, and the challenge we face in nutrition is no exception. So let me offer a few ideas. We must, first of all, boost productivity in agriculture and fisheries, including through climate-resilient technologies, and promote production even in non-agricultural areas, such as urban and vertical farming, and community gardening for subsistence supply. The food from the toil of our own hands is the food that will most nourish our bodies. We must invest in facilities, logistics, and systems that bring the nutritious food to our people, much like a grander scale of farm to table, and increase the capacity of our institutions to enforce regulations that enhance food quality. We must also cooperate to develop technologies that increase the nutritional value of our food and content and prolong their shelf life, which are sometimes contrary goals. And again, we count on the research and development that will be undertaken and the new technologies that will be discovered for us to be able to bridge that gap. Let us incentivize a nutritious lifestyle, promote active and health-seeking behaviors across different ages and income levels, and create an ecosystem based on the concept of green and circular economy. We are looking to working with the WEF and various stakeholders on a holistic and integrated plan covering both food security and nutrition security. The work of the WEF's New Frontiers of Nutrition, a vital component of the equally vital Future of Consumption platform, is commendable in this regard in providing us all with the first big leap towards nutrition security through a common paradigm on the purpose of nutrition and the future of food, and developing principles and indicators to sustain our efforts while aiming to create economic value for nutrition. Friends and partners, I look forward to productive and insightful outcomes from this discussion today. I'm confident we will be able to arouse high-impact, actionable, and collective ideas to steer us all forward on our common goal of nutrition security, not only in health and food, but especially in the quality of that food. I wish you all a nutritious lunch, but not to be had before an enjoyable and productive panel session. Thank you and goodbye. Thank you, Mr. President, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, it is a saying in English that it is the prerogative of an intelligent mind to change their opinion. So I think you are in good company. I am honored to be part of this session at a time when the global economy faces, as attested to by the IMF, a tougher year than the one we just left behind. However, we in the Philippines welcome this year with guarded optimism, as positive indicators point to a better than expected end-of-year economic performance on our end. Such performance was achieved even as our earnest efforts at recovering from the deleterious impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Our recovery has been made all the more challenging by the uncertainty that was induced by ongoing conflict, coupled with tensions amplified and magnified along economic and social equity fault lines in many parts of the world. We join other countries in bearing witness to the emergence of cracks and fissures of a scale that compromise the systems and institutions of global-wide economic interdependence. The interlinkages and integration represented by the complex array of supply and production chains have become the most ubiquitous feature of the modern global economy. Its efficient and effective functioning has not only contributed to a boom in global manufacturing and allied services, but has also played a role in the rapid prosperity of the country's position along such chains. New industries, companies, investments, and jobs have been created. The incentive for innovation has become much more attractive. We grew together, and poverty was reduced. But the confluence of forces that bore upon us the past years magnifies the differences and have shown the vulnerabilities in the underlying infrastructure that facilitate global supply chains. We have a perfect example here from the comments of PM De Croo, where he highlights the problem with the energy supply of Europe, whereas perhaps in Asia, the problem manifested itself in food supply and food affordability. Whether natural or man-made, such disruptions and breakdowns have catastrophic implications for global business. So I'm pleased to share with you that this government that I have been putting together has put forth policies and executed strategies intended to boost both robustness and resilience of often quite complex, interconnected global supply and production chains. We do this by addressing our ability to keep the wheels of economy going amid severe disruption and our ability to bounce back from adversity. The Philippine economy will post growth of at least 7% for last year, the highest in ASEAN and one of the highest in the Asia-Pacific region, supported by strong macroeconomic fundamentals and prudent fiscal policies. We have been making connectivity a priority, whether traditionally by land, sea, and air, and now, of course, in the digital and meta realm. The Philippines recognizes the importance of mitigating the impact of climate change on economic growth and resilience. To this end, it is our top priority to design and build climate-resilient infrastructure, programs, and projects. We have allocated 9% of our national budget towards initiatives to support conservation, climate change adaptation, and disaster risk reduction. I have committed to work to increase this figure to an average of 15% annually. Through our Build Better More flagship program, we have placed infrastructure development as the pinnacle of our vision for an equitable, prosperous, and resilient Philippines by 2040. We recognize the critical role of the private sector partners to enable the realization of these high goals. The recent amendments to our Build, Operate, Transfer law address concerns regarding the financial viability and bankability of public-private partnerships and the concerns on potential delays that might impede implementation. We aim to raise the confidence of investors, especially those that will benefit the social sectors of health, education, and agriculture. For this reason, we have taken a proactive approach. We have created a private sector advisory council, some members who are here with us, and we have formulated many strategies so that we can position the Philippines properly for the development and evolution of the new global economy. That is just a general overview of the effects as we have felt them in the Philippines. Thank you very much and good afternoon.
It's quite impressive, I have to say.